it's interesting to see like Nintendo of America attempt at cashing in on the decade-old conspiracy that Toad from Super Mario Bros. Is actually an asexual creature, a genderless icon of the Mushroom Kingdom that has no sexuality, no genitals. It is a non-binary creature that has a female princess as their monarch. Yeah, yes. Princess Peach was raised by the Toads, who are supposedly a non-binary species that should have no understanding of sex or gender at all, and yet Princess Peach rules over them as their female princess. Again, like I'm not saying none of it. I'm this is one of the silliest like woke narratives in the Nintendo lineup. It's probably our equivalent of the One Piece's fandom insistence that Yamato, Kaido's daughter, is actually a tranny. This is like one of the biggest, saddest copes I've ever seen. And I thought like the narrative had died off like quite a while ago. But I suppose like the issue is because I'm not watching YouTube content, because I'm not engaged with the woke community, because I'm not a fucking retard, I have no idea what fringe parties in the Nintendo fan base are actually saying about the characters, right? Because I knew this narrative exists. I actually debunked it right when it went live in 2014, right? I remember that, during the Player Essence days, if you were around for that, I was arguing with this stupid bitch named Tess in the comment section there, but I who was a real piece of work, by the way, fucker. But like, yeah, the article was obviously fake right from the get go. Like you can read the quote, like in regards to it. It's in association with like Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. The producer is talking about how Toad and Toadette aren't siblings, and somehow this was warped through like the corrupt game media propaganda system. Remember, this was just before Gamergate, like a month or so. Uh, Actually, I think it was the same month. Actually, I think it was August that year. Wow. Yeah, this might be the last woke conspiracy by game journalists to go under the radar before talking about this became mainstream. But like, anyway, the narrative became that Toad is genderless, like genderless. Like the narrative was that Toad is and always has been a non-binary creature. Never mind that like Toadette is right there. Never mind that we've seen toads in RPGs have families in human-like structures, that they have children, they have wives and husbands, that there are male and female toads. No, no. Like Toad is non-binary because we say so. And like I've seen like entities like Game Theory bring this up and try to push this as a thing and like try to normalize it, but like the grim reality of this is that like no matter how mainstream this is on YouTube, in woke communities, in gamer culture in general, the reality is that's not the case in the actual games, right? Like when you actually look at the actual games, when you have experience with them, when you have like any knowledge of the characters at all, you know that Toad is and always has been referred to as a guy. Okay, you can watch like I think the Super Show does this. The manual for Super Mario Bros. 2 does this. Super Mario 64 does this. Mario Party, like Toad has always been referred to as a guy. Okay, the idea that he's genderless is completely made up and contradictory to everything we know about the character. Like, we even see Toads get married in Super Mario RPG. So, like, yeah, the idea that, like, Toad is, like, some genderless abomination is completely and utterly debunked. But for some reason, there are a lot of people who are really adamant that this is canon and that Miyamoto himself has commented on this. It's all like a load of crap, right? We saw something similar. We saw a lot of similar statements when Bayonetta 3 was coming out, right? We saw like a lot of people saying that like Bayo and Jean were like in a confirmed lesbian relationship in some exclusive Japanese interview that never made its way stateside. I remember people saying the the same thing about like Ike being gay back in the day. You know, I remember people like saying Sheik, like whenever Zelda turned into Sheik, she grew a massive schlong. Like, you know, this is nothing new, okay? Like, I don't even really think it has anything to do with woke culture. It's just retarded women. I suppose that's like a double. What do you call it? Like and what do you call that? Retarded. Okay, well anyway, I know all women are retarded, but this is like this goes beyond that. Like retarded women pushing this insane out of touch conspiracy that makes no sense at all. Okay, and you can actually prove it because one of the things that people always say is that like, well, you know, Mario Kart isn't canon, so Toadette being considered female in that doesn't prove anything. Actually, Toadette's existence kind of disproves this whole notion. But people try to do this thing where they try to pretend like she's just styling her mushroom differently or something, and that she's actually secretly just as asexual as the others, even though she wears a top that covers her chin. Like anyway, they try doing this thing like, Double Dash doesn't count. Toadette being in Double Dash doesn't count. Toadsworth being in Sunshine doesn't count. Like, we need more evidence. We need more evidence that Toad is completely and 100% a sexually dimorphous species, right? Like, he doesn't have genitals. Like, game theory told me. Like, they'll go to such extreme lengths, you know, ignoring reality, ignoring like the actual games, and you can just look at very basic, simple things, such as the fact that New Super Mario Bros. U, Toadette becomes playable for the first time ever, right? She is in New Super Mario Bros. A first-party Nintendo game, a port. Like, Toadette is in New Super Mario Bros. What does Toadette do in New Super Mario Bros. U? What unique power-up is unique to Toadette? Toadette is the only character that can use the Pink Princess Crown. Toadette is the only character that can turn into Princess Peach. I know, like, we're all used to like the Bowsette Super Crown like joke thing, but that's not actually how the game works. Like, only Toadette can use the Pink Princess Crown and turn into Peach. Why? Because she's a female Toad. And like the big cope is that like, well, Toadette doesn't count. What we're talking about is the generic Toads, bro. Like, you can tell the difference between Toadette, who is confirmed female, versus like the average everyday Toad that has been around since Super Mario Bros. Okay, you can tell the difference, and because Toadette exists, because she is a in first-party games, because I think she's even in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, if I'm remembering correctly, because she's such a popular, iconic character, yes, female Toads do exist, which completely debunks your entire narrative. There's nothing you can do to argue this point. There's nothing you can do to like gaslight me into thinking Miyamoto is secretly some like non-binary icon, right? You would have better luck convincing me that he's a furry, okay? Like, you are just completely wrong about this subject, and there's nothing that like Nintendo of America can do to gaslight anybody about this, because when you really look at this situation, if Toad really was a they them, wouldn't NOA have been using they them pronouns since the very beginning? Or are you going to just like acknowledge the fact that they them pronouns weren't a thing before 2020? Like, I don't know. It seems like kind of contradictory, isn't it? It seems almost as if like the they them thing is completely fake, and that nobody is a they them, and that we shouldn't use these personal pronouns for anyone ever. Okay? Like even under the hypothetical situation that Toad really was neither a man or a woman, we would still use masculine pronouns for him because that is what you're supposed to do.